Hey guys, welcome. So today we're going to talk about how we make money in this business, right? That would be a good thing to talk about. This business is so freaking exciting, and there's lots of ways to make money in it. So let's get into it. So why this business is awesome, and this business is awesome. It's awesome because it's a team sport and you don't need a lot of money to do it. But let's get into how you make that money, okay? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is cash flow. Now, obviously, we are building cash flow, and that's the name of the game. That's the name of my podcast, Lifetime Cash Flow, because that's the ultimate goal, is to build enough cash flow so you cover your expenses and you don't have to work anymore if you don't want to. Okay, so cash flow is the belle of the ball, and that's actually, I wrote a book about this because it used to be value, that everybody was, talking about, trying to get the best value for a deal that they could. But the bottom line is with the crash and everything that happened, cash flow is the number one thing you should be looking at. So cash flow's a way to make money. Now, depreciation, okay? There's no other vehicle out there where you get the tax benefits that you get from real estate. In fact, right now I am searching for a property in the $1 million to $1.5 million range that I'm going to take down for myself because I'm going to cost segregate it. It's called cost segregation, where you can accelerate the depreciation. And, with about $1 million property, I can probably have a $600,000 write-off the first year, this year. It's freaking amazing. So the tax benefits is a huge plus to real estate investing. All right. Appreciation. Okay. But what's great about this business is you can force appreciation. Now, appreciation means the increase in the value of the real estate. Okay. And what's great about multifamily is you can force that, because the value of commercial multifamily, commercial meaning 5 units or up, is based on a multiple of the net operating income. Okay. And so, any increase to that NOI, net income, is an exponential increase to the value. So we love appreciation. Like, for example, we've got a property that we purchased in Louisiana about a month and a half ago. The seller paid $20 million for it 10 years ago. We paid $16.5 million a month and a half ago. Now, it's only 70% occupied, horribly managed. So we're already improving that. The property next door is 100% occupied. But once we get that property up to 90% occupied, we will have made $7 or $8 million in appreciation. That's why this business is so freaking exciting. Okay, so that's appreciation. Next thing is principal reduction. Okay, so obviously you're going to borrow money when you buy the property, and as you pay the loan down, reduce your principal, that becomes equity. It's a beautiful thing. So that's another benefit, another way to make money in this business. Another thing is acquisition fees. Okay. Now, listen, you're going to kiss a lot of frogs to find a deal right now in this hot market. You're going to have to look at a lot of deals. We look at about 100 to 150. So it's a lot of work. We do traveling. We do all sorts of things that cost money. Acquisition fees are expected in this business. Now, they're anywhere from 1% to 5% of the purchase price. Okay. For example, 3% is an average. And when you're talking about multi-million-dollar properties, it's a decent chunk of money, and it's fair. Okay. So acquisition fees, when you're putting a deal together and you're bringing in the investors and you're finding the deal and you're doing the due diligence and you're arranging the financing and you're putting it together, you're like the puppet master, you deserve an acquisition fee. So there's that. Now, another thing is called asset management fees. So when you buy multifamily, typically you're going to hire a third-party property manager to manage that property in whatever location it's at. So I don't recommend you do the management yourself. And here's why. Because while you're in acquisition mode, you should not be dealing with toilets, okay? So I'm going to suggest that you focus on finding deals and hire third-party property managers. But you have to manage the managers, and that's asset management, okay? You're managing your property managers. And like, for example, and that asset management fee can be anywhere from 1% to 4% of the gross rents. An average is probably 2%. And it's fair and it's expected, okay? So there's asset management fees. If you decide to manage the property yourself, you can charge a property management fee. If you have put the deal together and you're managing for a group of people, a property management fee is fair. Back when I was in my 20s, I bought tons of millions and millions of dollars worth of property with partners 50-50, and I charged a property management fee on top of the fact that we split the deals 50-50. So, it's expected, and you're doing extra work, you deserve extra pay. So that's property management fees. What's great about this business versus single family homes is you can achieve your goals much faster. Okay, so here's a great example. So let's say you want an income of $20,000 a month. On an average across the country, now there are places where this isn't going to apply, like Los Angeles or Manhattan, really hot markets. But on an average, when you buy a property and you buy it right, you're going to have a $200 per month net cash flow. So if you're buying if you're buying the property yourself, this applies. If you're bringing in partners, then you've got to divide it by however you split the deal up. But let's say you want $20,000 a month in cash flow, and it's $200 per door is the average. So you need $2,400 cash flow per unit per year. You need 100 units to get to your 20 grand if you're buying them yourself. Okay. So now let's talk about a high level of the multifamily investing process. Okay. I'm going to do it high level. I can't go too deep on this one, but I'm going to be doing these regularly, just trying to educate you as best that I can. So you got to pick a market. Number one thing you have to do, okay? And it doesn't have to be your backyard. Now, when I'm teaching this at my live events, I suggest 4 markets to consider first. First being your backyard. Second being a place you grew up or spent time. Third being a place you have boots on the ground, friends or family. And the fourth being a place you really like, might even want to retire. Those are the 4 markets I'd say consider first. If none of those apply, pick one as close to you as you possibly can. Next is you got to put together your team. Now, what does that mean? This is a team sport, my friends. And so what I mean by that is you're going to find brokers in that market, property managers in that market. You're going to find, an attorney in the state you want to do business with that understands real estate, maybe a syndication attorney, SEC attorney if you're going to syndicate. And so you're putting a team together. And again, this is a team sport. What's amazing about this business is if you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of income, you can find people that do, as long as you learn this business, bring them together and take down properties. People are doing it every day. Okay. I have students doing it every day. Then you find private money for your deals. So listen, when you get into this business, if someone holds still long enough, they better know that what it is you're doing. They better know that you're buying apartments and looking for great returns. Okay. So that's the next thing you're doing is you're developing relationships with potential partners, potential investors to invest in your deals. And it's just, what's a relationship? It's a friendship. That's all you're doing. You're getting out there and meeting people. And when you're excited about this business and you bring that passion to what it is that you do, you're going to inspire people and they're going to want to be around you and they're going to want to do business with you. Okay. So that's next thing. The thing after that, you need to evaluate deals. Okay. You need to evaluate so many deals that at some point you can smell if a deal's a good deal, okay? And you do that by looking at as many deals as you possibly can. So start looking at them, run them through their paces, see if they make sense. Then obviously you're going to make offers. You cannot be afraid to make offers. Do not be afraid to lowball offers. The first deal in this business is always the scariest, okay? It takes the longest, it's the most stressful, and once you're done with it, you're like, is that all there was? And then they're like dominoes. I see it every time. And there's something else I want to mention. We all have what we call a courage muscle, okay? And that muscle has to be built. So if you start with a duplex, that's just fine. I've interviewed so many people on my podcast that have multi-million-dollar portfolios that started with one duplex. Then maybe they bought a 10 unit. Then they went 20 and then 100. Now, I will say this. I do have some that have built multi-million-dollar portfolios, one duplex or triplex at a time as well. So, but you got to make offers, okay? The next thing is you negotiate the deal. So if you don't know how to negotiate, then read a book about it and start to learn it. And, I had Chris Voss on my podcast, who was a FBI hostage negotiator that I did. Make sure you listen to my podcast because, it's free and it's kind of a no-brainer. Duh. If you're not listening to my podcast, please go listen. It's Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. And we just hit 6 million downloads. So, and not only do I do a piece with an expert like someone like Chris Voss, who's a negotiation expert, or somebody that has thousands of doors, or maybe somebody that only has 50 doors. But I also do a piece every week about mindset, because 80 to 90% of your success in anything is between your ears. It's your psychology and your mindset. You have to take action with what you learn here. Like I'm teaching you. You actually have to do it. Okay, so it's mindset. So I hope you listen to my podcast. All right, so you got to negotiate the deal. Then you sign the contract. What do we got after this? Okay, then you start contacting the people that you've already talked to, the equity potential partners and investors, maybe private lenders that you've already started developing relationships with, and say, hey, I've got a deal. Let's look at it. And you start raising the money. And then if you're going to do a syndication, you hire an attorney. You should, by the way, if you get over, say, 10 doors on a property, a 10 unit or more, always bring in an attorney. Okay. Always. Okay. But even if you're not doing a syndication, let's say you find a high net worth individual like I did back when I was young and I bought a bunch of property 50-50 with partners. That's called a joint venture. Even if it's just one partner and he or she's putting up all the money, still get an attorney to review it. Okay. All right. Next thing is you're gonna ask the seller for documents, because in this business there's something called due diligence. So what you'll do is you'll put a property under contract, and then you'll do your homework on the property. You're gonna check it out. You're gonna make sure there's nothing hugely wrong with it. Okay, it's called due diligence. So you're gonna ask for financial information. You're gonna ask for copies of leases. You're gonna ask for copies of past contractor bids and bills. You're gonna ask for the profit and loss statement on the property. It's a whole list of things you're going to ask for. And so that's the next step. You're going to engage a lender. It's a step after that. Obviously, you got to borrow some money. So, and by the way, this is all happening very, very fast. Okay. This is not like you're going to wait to do this. These are happening. Many of these are happening simultaneously. I'm just giving you an overview, but you should have already talked to a lender before you even put the property under contract. Okay. To find out what's available so you can do your numbers and figure out your returns. Okay. Then you're going to go on site and you're going to inspect the property, and you're going to go through every single unit. Yes, I said it. Every single unit. You're going to look at every piece of every single unit. Now, when you get into a larger property, you typically engage the property manager to help you with that stuff. Okay. They'll bring a whole team out and they'll go through every unit together. Okay. But you're going to inspect the leases. You're going to inspect the documents that they give you, that the seller gave you here, and you're going to go look at every unit. Okay. Then you'll sign a term sheet with your lender, and maybe you'll lock the interest rate. If it's a floating rate, you'll say, okay, I'm ready to lock it, and then you'll close the deal. So hopefully you got some value. I hope you'll check out my podcast, Lifetime Cash Flow. By the way, on my website, I've got tons of free materials. I've got books that you can read. I've got about a 30-page due diligence multifamily workbook that you can go through that has every possible question you'd want to ask when you're looking at a deal. So go to rodkhleif.com. It'll be below here. Make sure that you download that workbook. I believe it's probably the best in the business, and you'll really get a lot of value from that alone. And there's other books there. There's articles. There's videos. It's all free. So go check it out, rodkhleif.com, and I'll see you soon, my friend.